Welcome back. In the previous video, we were able to register a user. So what we are going to focus in this video is about user experience. Alright, so let's check it out. Assuming that when I click login, assuming that I have slow network, okay, and there is no indication telling me that the login is in process. So wait, so we're going to display loading if there is slow network and display error here if there is any error. And if a user is successfully logged in, we want to redirect the user. Okay, so here's the logic. When we click on this and it's loading, we want to disable this button and change the text to loading. Okay, so let's do that one in this video. Okay, cool. So let me close all these ones from here and close this one. So I'm inside. Let's work on the login part. So here, when we log in, we are getting back the response, right? We have the loading, rejected, and fulfilled. So one more time, let's try to log in again. When I click login, you see there's no indication. But if I check my def extension tool, the last action being called means rejected, right? It means that there is, when I look at my state, there is no data here. There is no user app error here or app error here. But if I look at the action, I have that. But the property name is what? MSG, message. But I use what is called message in the user slices. So let me show you what I mean. So let's go back to the slices and users. So I'm going to show you why we're not getting that error on the state. So for the login, where it's rejected here, it's not on payload. We don't have message like this, but instead it's MSG shortcut. Well, that's what I use in the back end. So let me select everything that has message here and change to MSG like that. That's what we use in the back end. Okay, so now that I've changed that one, let me refresh again, and then let me log in. I know that this ID doesn't exist. If I check now on my state, I have the invalid login credentials. So I want to show this one to the user that there is something went wrong. So how can I retrieve this particular data and display it to the user? So you are going to use another hook from React Redux, and we're going to make our life easier. We call it use selector. Okay, use selector. So use selector, as the name implies, to select a piece of state from our store. So when you call this function, we have access to all the states inside our store, and we can display a particular state that is concerned by a particular component. So here, since it's a hook, right? So let's get this one, get data from store. Okay, and the same thing, const, call this one, it can be whatever. So let me call this one user. Okay, is equal to use selector. Okay, use selector. Use selector like this. And for this, we pass in a callback function. And for callback function, we have access to our state. So we pass in a callback function like this, and we're going to return our state. But because this one, we're going to return only piece of state, that one piece of state here or value here, I can ignore the curly braces and just write state here. But let me make it more simple and add state here. Okay, so for this state, now when I console log the state, sorry, I have all the individual states in my store, right? So states. So let's go back to the form login, and let me open the console and click. Let me click on login. And now, what do I see here? I have users, right, for my store. And on users, I have this property called user app error. So I have users dot all these details. We have app error, loading, and user server error. Okay, so now that we know we are returning that, so I can quickly return it as state dot users. Okay, so when I console log users, user here, I get all the state I need, but here I'm concerned with only the user state. So as we proceed, I'm going to have expenses and income, and because this component I want to retrieve data about user, I will just return the user data here as that. So now what is getting back is what we are going to send to the user. One more time, let's try. Let me remove this one and then try again. And now you can see that we have the same thing as we saw. We have the user app error, and I have the message here, and I have loading here, false. So here, now that we know, we can retrieve some piece of state here, right? So const, I can quickly destructure the user, right? I can quickly destructure the user. So let's do that one quickly. All right. User here, like that. And here, let's check the console. Oh, it's being cleared. So let me call one more time. Okay. Okay, I have it. No. Okay, so let me console log the user again so that I'll be able to know the data I want to destructure from the user. Sorry guys. Okay, so let's refresh it, clear this one and send. And I'm concerned with user app error, user loading, and user server, right? So I can destructure that. So instead of avoid using user.user loading and app error, I can destructure this one. So and then user server error is user server error, and I have user loading. Okay, so I have this state I want to make conditionals here. All right, so here let's display the error if there is this user app error or on the server error. So if you scroll down here, we can display, as you can see, I've commented something here. All right, so here let's check conditionals here. If there is user app error or user server error question mark, then let's display some data and call this one error. Otherwise, let's display null. Okay, so let's check it out again. So as you can see, automatically I have error here. So let me refresh it and then let me click. You see, I have the error here, but let's return the actual error. Okay, so here I can return user server error and user app error if there is one, like that. So let's check it out. As you can see, invalid login credentials. I have it here. But let's start using what? Bootstrap, and I can wrap everything from here. Okay, so the class I need is this class. So let me place the class here. Okay, Alex, Danger, and row other. So let me remove this one here because we have it here already. Okay, so with this, as you can see, now I have what? Invalid login credentials. Okay, cool. So again, now what about the loading? Okay, so for the loading, I want to disable the button and say loading. And because I'm going to use this btn for registration, for creating income and expenses, I want to make it reusable. So here, let's inside the component, we are going to create one component called disable button, right? So if you look at the template I've already provided for you, so component, and then I have disable button component here. And all what it's doing here is what? Add a property called disabled. And in between, I say what? Loading, please wait. Okay, so let me copy this, or let me move this one to the component folder in our application. Let me move it here. Now I have my disable button here. So let's go back to the login, and then let's bring in the disable button here. Okay, I have the auto import is working. As you can see, I have it here. So here, let's scroll down and look at the button here. This is where we are rendering the button here. Okay, and we can also check if it's loading. Therefore, we want to display the disable button here. So let me cut everything from here, and then let me check, say that if it's user loading, right, from the state. If user loading, then let's display the disable button here. Otherwise, let's display our on button, paste it here, and that is it. All right, so because my network is really fast, we can see that it flashes away loading and then it goes away. If your network is slow, you can see that the loading, but this button will move away and then the disable button will come. Okay, so what about if we log in successfully? How can we redirect? And also going to be pretty simple to do. So you're going to use another hook. We can even get push from this login, because this component is being rendered by our React router DOM. Therefore, it injects the props we need, for example, push and other stuffs. But let's require a package from, a function from React router DOM called use history, right? And I'm going to use this one a lot. So let's require that package called use history. Okay, so import, let's destructure that from React router DOM, and I need what is called use history here, use history. And because it's a hook, I want to call it inside my function here. So let me call this one history. Okay, so here const history is equal to use history, and this use history is going to give us all the props. For example, when I console of the props here, I could see all the methods that React router DOM inject, but we can use this hook to make our life easier. Okay, and it's going to help us, assuming that you want to protect this component. So on this hook history, let's try to console log history, and you can see that we have a method called push. Okay, so let me refresh the application, and as you can see here, object, and here we have all the methods like push and go back and forward and other stuffs. Okay, so you're going to use push to push the user if the user is logging. Okay, and remember, if we log in successfully, we have a property called user off. Okay, so one more time, let's console log the user again. Okay, and then let's try to log in with the right credentials, and you can see that we have user off property on that. So let me use right login credentials like Ben, and then let's check it out. Make sure I refresh the application, and let me use this email and log in. Okay, and as you can see, the console log, I have what is called user off. It means that the user has been logged in successfully, right? So we are going to base on this one to determine that a user is what successfully logging, right? So here we have the user off, and we are going to use this method called history.push if the user is what login. So here let's comment here and say redirect. Okay, and because our component is going to base on this user off, we need to require use effect. Okay, so let's bring use effect here, use effect like that. Okay, and this use effect accepts first arguments like callback, and the other one going to be the array that going to hold our dependencies. It means that the data you provide here is going to depend, the use is going to depend on this data to run the component when it changes. And the only thing here is what? When user of changes. Okay, here changes, then you want to re-render the function here. So let's make some conditional. So here, if user of, if there is user of, what do I need? I need to return history dot push, and the route, let's put the user to what? Profile page if you log in. So let's check it out one more time. See, automatically it has pushed us to that page because I've logged in successfully, right? Cool. So the implementation, well, is okay. So return this one, history.push. Okay, so it has returned, but why is it return us to home? I think it's not like this. Return here. So let me cut this one from here and make it and place it history.push. Yeah, like this. So let's go back to login again, and then let's provide this email address, and then I want to make sure that it push me into /profile. Login, login, and you see it has pushed me to profile. Okay, so now but there's no component to render this profile. That's why we see this white space here. So our redirect is working, error handling is working. So in the next video, or we can do the same thing for the register, right? It's going to be the same thing, right? So copy and paste. So let me copy this one, the use selector here, and let's go to register. So you can pause this video and try on your own. So inside here, let me bring it here, and I need use selector here. So auto import here, and I need disable button here also, like that. Cool. And I also need the redirect function here, like that. And then let me bring this here. You can place it wherever you want, but make sure, but take note about scoping. Okay, so the same thing. Let's display error if there is one. Okay, so where can we display the error here? As you can see here, I have display error here. So let's go to login, and we can copy here this error here we just did. Okay, copy that, and let's come to register and then place it here. The same thing. What about the loading? The same thing, loading here. So from here, this one, and let's copy this one, and then let's go to the register, and let's locate the button, where you have the button here, register, this one, and let's paste this one here, right? And let's change this one to what? Register, and that is it. Register. Okay, so let's check it out. Oh, I have unexpected error. Use effect is not defined. Okay, so register here, use effect. Let's require use effect here, and then let's require the use history as well, because our application depends on that for redirect. So save it and let's refresh it. Well, it says that use unexpected use of history. What is wrong? Oh, I'm not creating an instance of history. So let me copy this one and then come to register, and we can place it above or below here. Check it out. And now let's go to register /register, and there we go. So let's close everything from here, and let's try to register something. Okay, when we register, let's redirect the user to login. Okay, so here, login. Cool. So let's refresh it and make sure that when you register like that, you see that, oh, it has sent me to profile. I didn't refresh it, or what? Oh, okay, so it's supposed to return me to my profile. my login page, but it says profile. I think I didn't refresh the application, so don't worry. Let's register. So let's register a user. For now, let's try email that exists. You see that I have what user already exists. If I provide something, and now, well, it's sending me to my profile page. And what is the problem? Okay, so let's send this one to history dot, and let's say homepage. Okay, let's try that and see why we are not redirecting us to the login page. Okay, and I know the problem. I know it. I want to show something. Okay, so let's try to register a user. Exists something, and there you go. Okay, so our redirect going to the profile page. You're going to fix it in the next video. So now that you know how you can display loading and errors, in the next video we are going to refactor this application a little bit. As you can see here, we can create a component to display this error here, and we can create a function that's we are going to call and pass in only the destination route we want to send. As you can see, we have duplicate functions here. So we are going to do this one. We are going to extract this one into its own hook or some utility function, and we can call it in application, make our life easier.